started dating. She bought me some flowers.
She romanced you.
She romanced me.
Got it.
Is it weird to you? I mean, I'm still kind of trying to get comfortable with it.
Did she hold the door for you?
Yo, no, we're not.
I could see a pedicure.
Would you?
Depends on his feet.
That could be Mara's feet, and you can do it.
No way, you about to be cutting up my hands.
Yo, what's going on? This is
the Tim and Tam Talks. All right, look, bring it home. Let's get into this.
We're gonna have a lot of great conversations.
What's up, y'all? Welcome to Tim and Tam Talks podcast, the Back Pew. It's your girl Tam.
What's up, y'all? It's Tim Nicholas. What's going on, everybody?
And welcome to the Back Pew, guys. We got so much we got to talk about today. So a lot has been going on in the world around us. And without further ado, let's get into it. So, Tim, Caresha, please. Actually, she's been in social media not because of her podcast or her talk show not because of Diddy this time, but because of her son, who I believe is 10 years old. So we actually have a clip of this whole situation before we talk about it. So let's actually watch the video. Why did it end off on that? Wait. All right.
Wow.
Wait a minute.
So we had a 10-year-old son in the strip club, huh?
Man, this is crazy. This is a crazy time. It's a crazy time to be alive. So, all right. So Caresha brought her 10-year-old and gave him strip of dollars to actually throw on the hold on to throw on the women, right? Okay, all right. That's enough of that.
Wow. Okay, so this is wrong on so many levels. It's absolutely wrong on so many levels.
Listen, I don't know where to start, but I'm gonna say Black women, we're becoming a detriment to the community altogether. We complain about Black men, how they're leading, how they're doing this and how they're doing that. But when we have the ability to show our kids different, why don't we? Why don't we show them different? Like y'all were harping on Boosie about saying his son was having sex with some older lady or something like that. But here we are putting a 10-year-old in a very sticky situation, throwing money. Like, out of all the things to teach your kid, this is what you want to expose him to objectify a woman. Like, we hate to be objectified. We hate to be seen as that. But you put your son to further perpetuate those stereotypes that we have in men, which I won't say are absolutely true. Not all men do that. But why would you allow your son to be prone to be able to do that? Like, that for me is an absolute no-no. Tim, what you got to say?
This is wrong on so many levels. That's the first thing I'm going to say. Caresha is teaching her son how to objectify women. Simple as that. When you have your son in that type of setting, 10 years old, with a non-fully developed brain, and you want him to go in there and throw dollars at women, shaking their booties and doing all of the things that adults, you feel me? Like doing the things that adults do, right? Not knocking the adults in that setting because, hey, that's your business, that's what you do. But when you bring a child into that situation, just think about the danger that you could also be putting the child at risk, because a fight can break out, a shooting can take place. Like, people today are just crazy. Okay, I mean, anything could have happened. You dealing with crazy, deranged people on a daily basis, and you got your son in that situation. I could never imagine taking one of my boys. They 11, 10, and 8. I would never take my boys to something like that. Never. And I'm not teaching them to objectify women. I'm teaching them to respect, love, and honor women. And the best way to do that is to keep them out of settings to where it's contrary to what I'm teaching them. But this is what Caresha wants to teach her son. You want to teach him that life. You want to teach him all of these things that is tied to, to entertainment, to sex, to money, to drugs. You setting your son up for a bad path because you planting a seed that is going to just eventually grow. So who knows what he may be capable of doing when he gets older. And he gets older and older, and he may end up doing something by raping a woman. I'm not throwing that out there or claiming that's what he's going to do, but you can increase the chance and the opportunity of something like that happening just by putting your son in that setting. So it's wrong.
I agree. All right, Tim, what we got next?
What we got next, Tams? So like I said, we got a lot of jam-packed stuff, but I know that we have also been talking about, like, someone had talked about cheating and staying. Like to me, it's pretty insane. And so we're gonna play that. We're gonna definitely play that situation coming up. But I don't particularly agree with it. I could definitely tell you that.
Oh, like, I'm not just putting my man back in the streets. Mm-hmm. Like, if I find my Jay-Z, you think I'm putting Jay back in the streets? Mm-hmm. Hell nah. Yeah. It's my Jay. So go do what you're gonna do. I'm gonna make an album about it, cry about it later.
Are you gonna cheat back?
No. I do think there are double standards. And I'm not saying it's okay for men to cheat and it's wrong for women to cheat. That's not what I'm saying. But what I am saying is, like, it's levels to this shit. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And it's like, when I think of a man that's, like, really taking care of me, like, you taking care of me, you taking care of home, you doing what you're supposed to do, and, like, you went and just someone else off, like, a drunk night. Now, this shit is situational. But it's like, you know what I mean? I think it's more hurtful if it's premeditated. Yeah. But sometimes shit just happens, right? So it's like, my man taking care of me, and you think I'm going to put my man back out in the streets?
Because he cheated on you one time?
Because he cheated on me?
Yeah.
I feel like I'm getting dumber and dumber with each video. Okay? Can I start?
Absolutely.
So with this video, ladies, gentlemen, I don't care who this applies to. Why would you want to stay in a relationship where someone doesn't value you to the point where they think that you're going to always be there with this mindset? Like, for her to get online and actually tell the world that she would tolerate a man cheating on her, she's not going to cheat back. Her Jay-Z, she threw out Jay-Z, I'm assuming because of his money. So that's telling me that you could be bought, you can be bought in a relationship. But in terms of values, honor, and respect, you could throw all of those things out the window as long as he has money. Like, that to me tells me that you don't know your own worth. And if you don't know your own worth, you'll accept anything. And the problem that I have with this is that a lot of women think this way. And then they also, out of the other side of their mouth, they say, why aren't men better? Why aren't men treating us better? Why don't they respect relationships? You say that out of both sides of your mouth, but if a man knows that you're going to put up with anything, why would he want to be better? You're teaching him that there is no repercussions to any of his behavior. For her to even say some things just happen, like, nobody just falls into sex. I was about to say something. Nobody falls.
I thought you were gonna say it. I'm about to say, go ahead and say it.
Look, we just started. I ain't trying to get kicked off already. But nobody falls into those kinds of situations. Like, we say this all the time. Every decision that you make is a choice. So if they adamantly made a choice to be with somebody else, I don't buy into that. It was just sex kind of a thing. They made a choice to have sex. Whether it was just sex or emotion, whatever, they made a choice to do that. And in the back of their head, if you have this notion or this mindset, oh, he got money, so I'm not going to disrupt my lifestyle because he cheated. I'm just going to let it, like, what is going to make him stop? Why would you stop? What's going to make him stop? Why would you even want to be in a relationship where somebody doesn't honor the commitment to you. Like, what is that about? What is it in you that thinks so low of yourself that you think you have to accept that?
I agree with you wholeheartedly. Definitely seems like she could be bought, because all she talked about was, if I had me a Jay-Z, cheating is tolerable for me. And okay, if you saying that, I'm just going to throw this part out there too. You saying that, but what about the moment that same man bring home an STD? You still going to feel the same way? When that man brings home something because you allowed him to devalue you, devalue your body, devalue you as a person, you allowing him to do that, and then he brings something home to you, but you like, I forgive you because you got money, you know. So, and I'm gonna just say it. I'll say it in a PG-13 way, but you don't just fall into some booty, okay? Or you just don't do it. And we as men, right, we got to safeguard ourselves from having certain conversations with women outside of our relationships. We just got to do that. And so, because a lot of times that's how we get caught up. We get caught up because I don't want to talk to my old lady. I don't want to say the wrong thing. I don't even want to get into it with her. And then what do? We find an outlet, the wrong outlet. That's one thing. But getting back to the point of this lady just sounds so silly. She does not sound like this is why we have a huge problem with our culture as Black people, because we accept things that are below the standard of how we should be treated. We accept the standard below of what's been called of us, the expectation that God puts on our lives. We do not have a culture in place. We just hear sound bites on the Shade Room, on all these different publications and these different sites and these different pages, and we think that's law. That's the culture. It's not the culture. The culture is doing the right thing. We got to do it God's way. That should be the ultimate culture. But we as Black people, we don't have that. So cheating is acceptable because this woman right here said it. So what's going to happen? You're going to have somebody listen to that and say, oh, it's acceptable. I could find a man that makes a lot of money. Oh, yeah, he might play on the side a little bit. That's cool. But as long as you leave that out there and I don't know about it, or you don't bring something home, as long as you still taking care of me, my kids, my family, my needs, my bags, my money, flying me here, all this stuff, as long as you're doing that, I can accept it. I can accept cheating. You shouldn't accept that, but we don't have a culture in place. So that's a huge problem.
It's very sick, and I wish that our community did better. And you know what I wish even more than that? I wish that the majority online, it feels like, I know this is not the truth. I know the algorithm plays a part, but it feels like often it's a good chunk, a majority of people who think this is okay. And it's far and in between people saying, this is not okay. Like, why are y'all accepting this? And if you say that, you'll have a group of bandwagoners being like, shoot, I'm gonna keep my money. I'm gonna do this. It's almost like an anomaly to have a standard. It's sick. It's literally sick. And when you look at statistics and you wonder why Black households have the most divorce, most broken homes, it's because we have this jacked up mentality. When you look at statistics and wonder why we're at the bottom of the totem pole when it comes to or the highest of the totem pole when it comes to poverty numbers, and we don't correlate all of these statistics to it starting with lineages and broken homes and being able to pass on generational wealth. We can't even pass it on because we can't keep our families and our household intact, because we can't keep it in our pants. We can't value the things that are really important. And you're not just jacking up yourself. Everybody has a me mentality. I'm gonna make me happy. I'm gonna feed my flesh. I'm gonna do all of these things, but you're jacking up not just you and your immediate household from generation to generation. We keep this mindset, we're just going backwards.
Yeah.
But then we We want to say the white man, it's the white man's fault. I can't get ahead. It's the white man's fault. We don't have anything. It's the white, y'all blame the white man theoretically for everything, but never want to look in the mirror and be like, maybe I should build a foundation. Maybe I should have a standard. If the world is against me, maybe I should curate something that is going to stand the test of time, but y'all don't have nothing to stand on because you're too busy not building a foundation. So everything is crumbling. Our communities are crumbling because we don't value what's really important. And what's really important is really simple. It's family.
Family is the foundation to everything. I'll never forget this when I was in my backsliding days and doing some things I wasn't supposed to be doing. And I remember a woman told me this. She said, "You real messed up for what you doing." And she said, "If you don't stop doing what you're doing, your lineage is going to be affected, heavily affected." And I remember that conversation 3 years ago like it was yesterday. And that was one of the things that allowed me to get myself right, to not allow my children's lives to be affected, my future to be affected, because already when you deal with sin, you already got to suffer the consequences. You got to deal with the consequences, right? The scary part about dealing with your consequences is knowing that it affects other people. People that don't deserve something bad to happen to them or something unfortunate to happen to them, right? So that scared me, and it hit me like a Mack truck where I was like, man, I don't want to stay like this. I don't want to be one of those people who just goes from one person to the next, one woman to the next, doing these things, all this. No, I got to change up some things. And most importantly, I want to build my family up, and so we have to do that as people. Black people, we not doing that enough. We find an easy way out. We don't want to stick together. We want to find the smallest thing and not want to work through it, or even big stuff. We don't even want to work through the big stuff, but we got to work through it in order to build our culture, to build our family. Our mission is bigger than the problems that are in front of us. And that's huge for us to keep in mind. We got to keep that in mind. Our culture is dependent on us to be together, stay together, have family, work through issues, break generational curses, create generational wealth. It's so many things at stake. And so this is unfortunate to hear a woman even accept the fact that she wouldn't mind being cheated on, even if the dude makes a lot of money. That's your worth. And hey, if that's the way he got you, that's not going to last, because y'all have no foundation. Yeah.
I agree. All right, Tim, what we got next?
What we got next? So this is an interesting one coming up, because us men, we like are behind the 8 ball when it comes to mental health, sharing our feelings, all these things that you probably are like, if men are out here watching, you're like, what is this dude talking about? Why are you even talking about this, man? You a soft dude, man. I'm turning this because I don't even want to talk about it. But seriously, mental health is a conversation that really needs to be more prevalent in our community. Sharing our emotions, feelings, and all those things are super important. But let's just say you are in a relationship, you're married, you're committed to someone, and as a man, you have to lead. But what if you have to lead your wife, your family, your children, while you learning to lead yourself, right? And so from a woman's point of view, she's going to answer that. So let's check her out.
Can your man lead you even when he's learning how to? That's a convicting question right there, because us women, we like information. We like details because it provides.
Okay. Do you want me to start?
Go for it.
I'm gonna start with, I feel like this whole the title and what she was talking about were two different things. Okay, let me start there. The question was, as a woman, can you follow a man who does not or cannot or does not have the capability to lead, right? He's learning to lead. Can you follow that person? Now, she didn't talk about that. She didn't talk about that piece. She went to actually what it looks like to follow a man who is getting direction and leading his family. So what she was talking about was a man that did know how to lead, because a man that knows how to follow God knows how to lead, right? It's one thing if you're not following the Father and you're out of alignment, then therefore you cannot lead, right? So I unpack this because I don't want anybody to think you have to follow every Joe Blow that you come in contact with, right? Especially if the title, I got to go back to the title. If they do not know how to lead, as a woman, Tim, I got to be honest, it's going to be difficult for me to follow someone that does not know how to lead. And what I mean by that, and all I'm going to state leading is being led by the Father. That's point blank, period. Like, I don't need, like, you don't even have to add no detail. We ain't got to talk about finances. Are you being led by something higher than your highest thought? Yeah, something outside of yourself, right? So if you are not capable of doing that, I would say as a woman, that should not be the man that you should be following. And oftentimes, we as women, we think eventually that man is going to get it, or even worse, we allow them to lead us, but they have no direction from God. They have direction from self. So you have to have discernment about who this man is and where that direction is coming from. So I'm going to, like, not that I want to completely disagree with what the lady said, because I agree that as women, when we are following men and submitting to men and not having all the details, because we're not going to have all the details, we have to be in a place of submitting to the mission. And I say this all the time, submitting to where God is taking that man, knowing that God is looking out not just for him, but for the covering. He's covering you as well. So that's a hard and tight place to be at, to relinquish control, because women, when we're single, we get to make our own decisions. Our dad covers us, but ultimately we're making our own decisions until our Father gives us away. And now that man is leading us and leading the charge. And it's a hard thing to do. However, we have to have more discernment as women about whether or not that man can lead, because if he cannot lead, you're going to be frustrated, and it's going to make you not want to submit to the higher calling that he has on his life, which is going to be a deficit for him, because it's his charge to take you with him. It's his charge to do that, even when we don't understand it as women. So we have to have a little bit more discernment about what type of man he is in God, and whether or not he can lead, because if he cannot lead you, you should not be married, connecting, all of those things, because it's going to be out of order. It's going to always be out of order.
That's real. That's very real. You want to read that comment, sis?
All right, let me put my glasses on. Hold on. Yeah. Hey, Matt. Okay. She said it's very true. I remember asking Tim prior to us getting married, who helped him make his decisions in life. And the first answer out of his mouth was God. I knew he was something special. Look at you, brother. Look at you. I love it. I love it. And that's truly the way it's supposed to be, because we're literally relinquishing our life to this man for full covering, for protection, for provision, for everything. And if we don't have that, y'all, like, it's just like, it's a detriment to not only your family, but to your purpose and your call as a woman as well. Like, you jack up the whole system when you're out of order. That's why the Bible tells it should be done in decent and in order. So we have to, be a bit more intentional around connectivity. And like Ali was saying, like, being able to ask those tough questions, not asking like, what's your favorite meal? What's your favorite color? right? Being able to ask those questions that's going to get to the heart of that man. Like as a woman, like, all right, like where do you get your leadership, your provision from? Like, where are you taking me? You know, not what house we gonna buy, but where are you taking me spiritually? Can I grow spiritually with you? If I'm in the pit, can you pray me out of it? You know, those kinds of things. So look, I commend you, sister, because that was a great question to ask Tim.
Shout out to my wife, Allie. Thank you, baby. Thank you very much for being my biggest supporter. You know, I love you like crazy. You are the apple of my eye in so many ways, and you are one of my biggest, probably my biggest inspiration in life. And that is one question that she did ask me early on when we first started dating and was getting married and things like that. She did ask, who do I get direction from? And I told her I get it from God. I learned to get direction from God, not from man, not from best friends, not from mom, not from brothers, not from anybody. I had to start getting my answers from God. And so that was really important. And I tell her this all the time, and she can vouch for this when I say this. I thank her for trusting me with her life. I thank her for trusting me with her biological children's lives. I thank her for allowing me to allowing me in. And so when she allowed me in and when she opened up to me, I felt like I can't let you down. I got to get my direction from God. I'm not going to be able to navigate through every single scenario perfectly. So the one thing I even said to her early on was, please don't put me on a pedestal. Don't put me on a pedestal. Don't put my decisions on a pedestal. Don't put anything on a pedestal when it comes to me as Tim. But if anything, just understand where I get guidance and direction from. And we can celebrate together when things happen from a good aspect, and even from when things happen when we don't want them to happen or expect them to happen, but we get a lesson from it. Even be grateful for the lesson and the journey that we're on. But just never put me on a pedestal, even when I do right, because I'm only doing right through what God is telling me to do. It's not my own doing. It's what God is telling me. Like, I'm led by the Spirit in everything that I do. Sometimes through emotion, which we're all human, that things happen like that. But for the most part, I'm led by the Lord. And so I do appreciate that. But just really even bringing that home, based on what the woman said, we have to, if we're getting our direction from God, we don't necessarily have to know the journey. We don't know what path we're going to take. But if our faith is stronger than what we can see, and we come to a woman that we love, that we cherish, that we honor, that we want to do well, want them to do well, we want to see them thrive, then my hope would be that you can submit under God's authority through me. You're not really submitting to me. Like even when we have those conversations about submission, right? Submission should be through that person, but through God. Like that, you're really submitting to God with that person. It's not, and so many times we get caught up in that. Women get caught up in that word submission because it's like, it's because it makes a lot of women cringe for multiple reasons. So let's unpack that real quick. The word submission. Okay, let's go ahead and unpack this, because a lot of women, I understand why a lot of women cringe at the word submission, because you have a lot of men who aren't led by the Spirit, who aren't led by God, and they will try to dictate, manipulate, and control a woman to doing the things that they want them to do. I'm gonna tell you what that is. That's not submission. That is that's a weak-minded man. So you don't want to follow a weak-minded man who is telling you to do something, but you don't even know where he's getting his instruction from. He's just getting it from his emotions and his own logic. But because God sees well past what we can see, then if he's just going to take it from, hey, I need you to be submissive to me. No. if I'm proving and showing to you that I can submit to a higher authority and a higher calling, then it should be easier for you to lead, to allow me to lead, and you can easily follow me in that aspect as a leader. And I'll never forget, in our vows, she said that to me. She said, because you get direction from God, it makes me willfully want to follow you, easily follow you. And that still holds true today. So we have to get our direction from a higher authority, which is Christ Jesus. Get that authority from him and be able to lead and say, hey, you may not see it this way, but I don't have all the answers. I'm gonna be vulnerable and say, I don't have all the answers. I don't know. I don't know everything. But if God's telling me to do this, we have to be obedient. And in those cases, when we can explain it and break it down in that aspect, women are easier. It's easier for them to submit, and it's easier to follow if that woman sees where that man is taking you and where he's gone himself.
I agree with that. I think like we just have a lot of work to do when it comes to understanding submission a lot better, and then also understanding leadership a lot better. Because you will have, I try not to harp on the fellas, but you will have fellas that think just because they're a man that they're automatically a leader. And you have women who also assume just because he's a man, he's automatically a leader. So they throw away discernment and they think, oh, well, he's a man, like he has a good job. We start creating all of these additional variables that have nothing to do with his leadership capabilities. And then you'll have those men that just tell you they're a leader just because they're a man, but they don't have the characteristics of such, which means like good or bad, I'm going to be accountable for this household. The weight is going to fall on me. The buck stops with me. Like the responsibility is going to be on me. That burden is going to be on me because I am leading this. So good or bad, it's going to fall on me. But I want you to know I got us either way. And it's, we have to understand that as well. So I think just for all of us as a body, us as women, Tim is absolutely right. We have to, throw away the mindset that submission is a dirty word, and that we can submit to the mission. We can submit one to another, as scripture tells us to do, and be able to allow our men to lead us and get that clear direction, even when we don't understand it. Like a lot of the things the same way God tells you to do stuff, you don't understand it. It's the same thing, right? So when you're in a marriage and you become one, none of that changed. God is still going to allow your home and your husband and you to move. But that conversation, like you said, has to be had, and you have to be willing to, trust your spouse enough to be able to follow. And that man has to be able to also show you those capabilities of being able to be led by something higher than himself and carry those characteristics around.
You said something that was excellent. You said something too, in addition to that, about how we should submit to one another as Christ calls us to do. And there are times as men, we gonna have to come out and say, listen, even this is submission, and this shows leadership and strength as well. If you're a man and you may not have all the answers, or you may be weak in certain areas, that's you being vulnerable to your partner, your spouse, and saying, listen, I'm not great at this area. I'm not great at it. I know how to delegate responsibilities and fall back. That's what another part of leadership is being able to delegate that to your spouse, or to that woman that God entrusted you to do life with. He didn't say, husbands, do everything. Husbands, lead your wife by knowing all the answers, or lead your wife by doing exactly what she needs you to do. That's not what leadership is. Leadership is also admitting faults, delegating responsibilities, understanding your spouse's strongest suits. When you may not be strong, she's weak. I mean, where you're weak, she's strong. And being able to understand that and utilize those strengths, so that we're a body, we're one. And so we're supposed to come together and bring all of this to the table and grow together. And so that was really good when you said that. That really stuck out to me when you said that, in addition to everything. So thank you for that.
You're welcome. I didn't practice nothing.
Yeah, you never do. We, this is the thing about us, y'all. If you guys are listening and watching, we just always go off the cuff. Nothing is ever staged or forced or anything. We literally just come together on Mondays and Tuesdays, which was Monday. It was our last session doing the Church Boy with Childhood Trauma. Go back and watch those 7 episodes. We did an amazing job just trying to lay out so many different things from healing to restoration to triumph to struggles, and just we gave you a roadmap of what life looks like when you can be down in the dumps and allow God to clean you up in so many different ways, and then you can just live a beautiful life from there. So that's Mondays, and then Tuesdays doing these Back Pew Conversations. We like to dive in and just not only talk about pop culture, but what it means to us and how we see how things are in our culture and how we can be better. And so we're gonna definitely dive into the next one. I'm just gonna kind of just play it and just let y'all kind of hear and see, do you kind of agree with it or not? So we're gonna tap in.
I gotta always learn how to talk to the king in you. I don't care how mad I get. And I learned that in therapy, that for me to manifest the man that I wanted in my life, I had to learn how to always speak to him like the man I wanted in my life, even when I'm mad at him.
Teach that shit.
You know what I'm saying? And I had to learn how to speak to the man that I wanted in my life all the time. I needed to speak to him as that king. Man. Ooh. Right? To where when we
even when he acting like a court jester?
Yes. Okay. Even when we get upset with each other, there are rules. We don't hit below the belt. Like, it's a lot of things and a lot of growing that I've done, but we've all got to get to that place.
Yeah.
Message.
The message of the end I chuckled. Okay. I love this. I'm going to say that, for starters, I love the fact that we got new people watching. So if you're new here, go ahead and click that like. Go ahead and follow, subscribe. What's up? What's good? All right. But I really like this video. And I love it because women, we have a habit of talking to men like they're women. We have a habit of doing that, and we cannot do that even when we get frustrated. So the fact that she spoke on being able to speak as if he is a man 100% of the time, regardless of how we feel, I feel like we have to display that a lot more as women. It's a beautiful thing because there's nothing worse than tearing somebody down with your words. Uh-oh. You can't see me?
We can't see you, Sam. Nah, I'm not gonna say nothing.
Y'all wasn't gonna say, can you see me now?
No.
Hold on.
Uh-oh.
See, ain't nothing but that devil. Always.
Well, Tam had to step away, so just going back to the clip until she comes back and joins us. But she might be joining us. There she goes. But now we can't hear you. Nope. See, she was about to hit something real impactful on us, and so she gonna come back at some point, and we gonna be able to hear her and everything. But I guess just from a man's point of view, it's always great when we can have conflict and still have a lot of respect intact. Have that respect intact to love one another, have a conversation, and not hit below the belt. And those are things that we have to develop just overall. Like, that's something that I know I'm constantly developing as a person as well.
All right.
There you go.
Shout out to the Keeping. Thank you so much for letting me know I was out here blinded. Once was blind, but now I see,
Shout out to Lakeith and thank you.
Look, could you at least hear me? Did I go dark, but you couldn't hear me?
We could hear you. Yeah, we could hear you.
I was spitting.
You was hitting real good.
No, just to wrap it up, I was just trying to say, like, I just applaud her for being able to correct us as women, because it's not always an easy thing to swallow, to be corrected, but it is something when we need to check our tone, need to check how we talk and speak to men. I think we don't often think that you guys feel pain, and because you're man, we think you're strong all the time and impenetrable. But it's a good it's a good reality check for us. It's a good check for us to be able to say, you know what, I need to tone this down, and I need to make sure that I am speaking to him the way that I want him not only to speak to me, but the way that he is, So it's very important. And it was just really, I'm glad you got this video, because it's just a great reminder to make sure that we're not tearing men down with our words. We need to do more uplifting. And this is a good way to start.
I chose this video not because of anything like personal, where it's like, hey, this happens to me all the time, and I'm just, it's not about me, okay? But I'm a part of a group called Candid Conversations, and God put it on my heart to share that video in particular, because so many times that I've been a part of groups with speaking to men, the main thing they tell me is that they feel disrespected by their spouse or their woman on how they speak to them. In conflict, it's like, you can love me when I'm doing something great. You can love me when I'm on the same page with you. You can love me when all is well, but the true character comes out when conflict comes. A lot of times men feel like this is how you really see me when conflict comes out. And so we're not impenetrable. We're not, just a brick wall. We got feelings too. And, we got to be handled a certain kind of way. And that's the thing that men, I've heard countless men say, where it's like, I don't even want to go in the house because I know she's going to be on my case, talk to me all crazy and do all this stuff and say all these things. And it hurts to their core when I hear those things from these men, and so it's a good reminder, but it's not just a good reminder for women on how to speak to a man. It was a good reminder on how we should handle conflict by not hitting below the belt, and that applies to men as well. Men, don't hit below the belt. If you know your woman's, your wife's vulnerability and the things that she's most vulnerable about, don't hit her below the belt by bringing those things up, especially if she's working on it. And that's a lesson I've had to personally learn. If she's working on it, don't hit below the belt. If she didn't share it with you, this is what's going on with me. And the same thing goes each way. It goes both ways. So it's not just women, it's us in conflict overall. And so I was blessed to see that video, and then it just hit me because a lot of men talk about those things about, I just feel all alone in how I can share, because I feel like it's just, she gonna hit below the belt. She gonna say things that I can't come back from. And we don't want to risk relationships by even putting ourselves in that position by saying the wrong thing at the wrong time, all because you are emotional.
Yeah. You know what? One of the things one of the things I've been working on for like the past couple years is just like not being too emotional when I talk. Because y'all hear, if I get passionate about something, you can tell when Tam is passionate about something. And if I'm frustrated, it's even more passionate. But my pastor, their anniversary was like some months ago, and he had shared, he was like, yeah, I've been married X amount of years, and I've never heard my wife raise her voice at me. He was like, I've seen her get frustrated and mad. I've seen her in situations, but towards me, I've never seen my wife raise her voice towards me. She's always respected me, even through conflict. And when he said that, it definitely challenged like the inner parts of me that felt justified in being able to be a little snarky or feel like I needed to respond or react a certain way when I was disrespected in any kind of fashion. But I'm like, wow, what strength she must have to be able to restrain that and still respect him anyway, even when she's hurt or broken. And that's like one of the things I've just been truly praying about. It's just like, God, help me to have that inner strength that where I don't react that way or respond in a way that I can't take back. Let me always be fluid in the way that I love, care, and respect people. So, kudos to that lady, just for a healthy reminder for us to check ourselves and how we treat each other. That's really what it's about. It's just how we're treating each other. Like, even when we mess up, we want people to still respect us. So it's just a good reminder to, consider.
Definitely. I love it. All right. I think we didn't really hit on a lot of great topics, like 5 or 6 different topics tonight. You got anything else, Tam? What you want to talk about?
Just saying, look, do we have anything else?
You know what? You got actually one more random one where somebody said we got to get Dr. Umar in this one. So let's see about this one.
You think you can help me with this? It's pretty heavy.
Oh, no, dude. What's going on, bro? Somebody's in there. Dude, I can't do that.
Just real quick, all right, can you at least help me?
No, dude.
Can you at least help me put it in mine?
No, dude, you crazy.
Just real quick, I just want to just put it in there and we're good to go.
Dude, you're a good guy, dude. Don't do this. You're young, you're handsome. Please. You're a good guy, man. Look at you, bro. You're a good-looking guy. You're in shape. Can we let her out, please?
I'm so sorry.
Please, come here, brother.
I'm so sorry.
Come here. Let's let her out, man. Okay? Can we do it? Yes? Please? Please.
Let me out!
Please, man. Please. Who is this kid?
What the heck is this? What is this?
From our producing team, what the heck was this?
What the heck is this?
I was a kid in his suitcase. Okay.
I'm confused. Was it it was a prank? It had to be a prank.
It was a prank, but it still sent a bad message. Like, are you like trafficking a child? Like, what's going on?
Who pranks this way?
We are, that's why I say we just be doing some dumb stuff on social media. And this is why we have the Back Pew Conversations on Tuesday night, because we can have just that exact same thing. Just think if you and I, Tan, were just on the back pew and we was on our phone and we happen to see something like that, we're going to be like, what in the heck was that? People just be playing too much, man. They play way too much. Stop playing these stupid, silly pranks. What is that? Weird, man.
I'm sad it was a brother that did it. Like, come on. Wasn't the Carly? Wasn't the
We done had enough Carly situations, but all right, we got one more for y'all. One more. Let's pop it off.
Now that we're broken up, like if we would have broke up and you didn't put me on child support, I probably would have been there more. But now that I am on child support, I'm probably gonna only do the child support. That's all you're getting from me. No
why
love,
do
just money.
Why do you have to look at it as it being spiteful?
It
Why
is
does
spiteful.
it have to? Why is that spiteful?
What else would it be? If I
Why is that spiteful?
If I adopted this child, I'm not leaving
It don't
them.
matter. It don't matter. Y'all don't understand. Y'all don't understand. Like, just because somebody put somebody on child support doesn't necessarily mean they're doing something out of spite.
It does.
No, it does not. No, it does not. Speak to the mic.
No, you can't say that though. But because I've seen I don't have any kids, but I've seen situations where the guy has done everything for the child, clothes, all that, spending time with him, but the mom will make it just so hard for them to even really be there, or be the other way around. The guy wanna be with the girl, and they ain't together, so she just try to make him go away, put him on child support.
If a woman puts you on child support, that does not mean that she's being.
I'm gonna let you start, Tim.
Well, I gotta start on this one.
I gotta let you start.
So the topic was, if a TikTok user pretty much said, if you put a man on child support, that's all he's gonna do, nothing more, nothing less. Correct. Totally disagree with that. Now it's a catch-22 to that, because I have my own personal experience with that. I don't think that just because you're on child support, that's all you should do. Okay. I believe that, first of all, child support is something that should support the child, or the children for that matter. But it doesn't mean that should be the end all be all. What if there are different needs that the child has? Are you willing to step up? If this is your child above all, your child's an extension of you. So whatever you need, from my point of view, whatever you need, I got you. Even if I ain't got it, I'm gonna go get it. That's my thought process about it. Regardless if I'm paying child support through through a garnishment or through direct payment, whatever it looks like, I'm still going to go above and beyond for my child, no matter what. That's just my heart. My heart won't accept anything less. Now, I have a situation where I'm not even going to get into that tonight. We're not going to get into all that tonight. I'm going to let you dive in, but I just feel like it's such a wrong mentality that we have, that we're only going to do the bare minimum because we will put on child support. It's just that we're going to do the bare minimum just to say we did it. We're not, because if your heart was really aligned to what the child needs and to who that child was to you, you're going to do more than what is required of you. And you're going to go above and beyond because you want somebody to go above and beyond for you. If you're a child, you want somebody to vouch for you, to advocate for you, to love you unconditionally, to love you through thick and thin, even when you make a mistake, to teach you things, life lessons. It's not all about just child support. I'm not just going to give the bare minimum just because you got me on a piece of paper. And we got to humble ourselves and understand that even as men, this is your bed. You made your bed, so you got to lie in it. This is your responsibility. So your responsibility, even if you're not with the woman anymore, you still got responsibility to that child. This is your bed. You lie in it, but lie in it with a smile on your face, because at the end of the day, that child is an extension of you. That's something to be proud of, to be cherished. Children are a blessing from the Lord. That's biblical. So why are you going to treat the child like an option as opposed to a priority? That's just my thought.
Christian, you said something. You said something good. Listen, 100%, I agree with everything you just said. Completely disgusted that somebody with my same skin hue took to social media with a podcast mic and said that. Very disturbing that he would even spew that. And honestly, he's not the only one that thinks that way, because Black men are the number one statistically that abandon their kids. And I don't understand why we think so little about our children in our community. It makes no never mind to me. And for somebody to say, well, if I'm showing up financially, that they don't need me physically, spiritually, emotionally, I think is abuse to me. It's very much abuse that you would discard your kid, abandon your kid, leave your kid in that way, when we know statistically, when your kid has both access to the mom and the father, that they do better in life. They do better all the way around. We know that to be fact. So with all of the statistics and with our community and the way that it is, you would decide, if I'm just gonna pay, I'm not gonna do nothing else. It's an abusive situation, and it boggles me, because I mean, I get it. I feel like there's multiple sides of this story, right? People may try to use tactics to get at their, because both men or women are on child support. So to get at the other person, more men talk about it than women. And this is the thing that I also understand, like, why do only men complain about child support? Women are on child support too. I have a cousin that was getting child support from his kid's mom, but, I've never really heard women complain about financially stepping up or showing up for their kids. It's always the men who feel like they're getting, like, people are getting over on them. And I don't understand. I want to understand it. I want to hear you. But when you make statements like this, if I show up financially, I'm not going to do anything else. When you know that kid requires you as a parent to provide, protect, to lead, to guide, like, theoretically, statistically, we even know that when the kid is with the father, and the father has custody, the kid also does better with just the father alone. So this is how important men are. And I'm a woman saying this. I grew up with both of I know the value of having a man in my life, and I want men to realize the value that they have. It's almost like men want want us to understand their value, but they don't understand it themselves. Because if you understood it yourself, you wouldn't say stupid stuff like this. So I'm very much disgusted. I hope he doesn't theoretically have true kids. I'm hoping this was a theoretical situation and he doesn't have a kid, because if he truly has a kid and the kid lives this life and sees this, I feel for that child, because kids don't ask to be here. They didn't have a choice into this whole thing, which is why I tell my kids, like, I tell my kids all the time, y'all don't owe me anything. Y'all didn't ask to be here. My job is to be a good parent, to provide protection, to do the best that I can, because like you said, they are a gift. And when you have a gift, you're supposed to treat them as such. You got precious cargo. So for me, I know this is not all men, so I'm not clowning all men, but for this particular guy, he needs therapy. He needs some inner work or something to get his mindset together, because his mindset is straight poverty. He's poor in mind.
Yeah. And I agree with you wholeheartedly. It's disgusting how this man would think that way. And I believe just from him saying that and providing that soundbite, what I've learned is that if you're very passionate about something and you got a soundbite like that, it means you have lived it and experienced it. And so it's unfortunate if that's the case. He has a child out there that probably is just getting the bare minimum of him, and that's it. But I'm gonna also throw it out here from a man's perspective too. So the men that's watching and listening, I got you too, because it goes both ways when it comes to those types of dynamics, right? So let me advocate for the fellas from this aspect. What if you have a father who loves his children, who loves the child, who cares for them, who pays child support, who takes care of them, who longs to have that relationship? But what if you have the mother on the other side rejecting that? You have the mother putting thoughts and different planting seeds in the child's head about the father, but yet and still he's actually paying child support. Well, so here's devil's advocate, because I can tell you this right now, I don't necessarily believe this anymore, but I did used to at one point. I used to believe that if I'm doing what I'm supposed to do as far as being a father, being a willing father to a child that I birthed, and I was doing everything in my power to be a part of their life and paying child support, but you're still rejecting the other aspects of me trying to build a relationship with them, I would feel so resentful, so angry on the fact that I'm even paying child support. Because why should I pay child support for a child that I'm not even supporting in any other way? And you have some men out there that think that way. I don't particularly think that way anymore, because it's like, listen, at the end of the day, it's my responsibility and all those things. But you still have men that think that same way of thinking. Is it justified?
So when you say, like, what was exactly being rejected? Like your time? Because, like, typically you have either court ordered or whatever time with that child. So was that time being rejected, or was it something else?
Time being rejected, opportunities to get to know the child, toxic communication all over when it didn't have to be that way, lack of information when it came to their lifestyle and how they were living, what school they attended, knowing basic information about the child you helped create. And I can understand if you have a background of abuse, or if you have a background of something crazy going on where that child has to be protected from you because you just don't know what you're going to get. But when you promote love, when you try to promote the best version of yourself at that time to that child, and it's still rejected by the other parent, and then it also infiltrates into the mind of your child to where they don't necessarily want to establish that type of relationship, and it's now a division before it even gets off the ground. There are some situations in that case with men who have tried everything that they could do, and then they just be like, you know what, man, I'm just gonna wipe my hands of it. Go ahead and take my money, but I'm wiping my hands of it. But who ends up suffering the most? The child does. Because you got the toxic parent over here, and then you got the absent parent over here. So this child is already kind of screwed up before their life can even get taken into another stratosphere of great things that could happen. Now they got to live in survival mode for a long time because they had an absentee parent and then they had a toxic parent on this side. Those things happen too. So that's just my thought too. Like I said, what are your thoughts on just that, even that scenario? Because there are men that experience that too.
Yeah. First and foremost, I don't agree with toxicity. I don't care if it's man or woman. For me, it's just like out of line when it comes to the kid. I feel like the kid is the most important thing. So I have had people in my life that have had experiences with like their kid's mom or dad. And one of the things that I know my community hates going to court and doing all of this stuff. It's like, how dare you get these people involved in our situation? But if the situation isn't working out properly, if I can't manage it with you as an adult, as a mature adult, I've tried, and you've dropped the ball, or we're just not communicating, hey, I got to get somebody else to communicate for me, because the way that we're trying to do it right now is just not working out, and it's at a detriment to what we have together. So for me, I'm a strong advocate of just having somebody mediate the situation. And in this case, for people that are in that situation, I live in Texas, and Texas is really good about father rights. They're really good at, like, depending on, I don't know, like all counties, but I for sure know like Collin County, Dallas County, for the most part, they're really big about family. Like they'll go in, like you go in there, they'll charge you up. I don't care if you're a man or you're a woman. If you in there acting crazy, or you like denying rights from the mother or the father, oh, they'll light you a new one. So I'm really big about just making sure you do all that you can do. And when you can't do it, it's okay to get somebody else to communicate or mediate those situations for you. Because I don't agree with toxicity, especially with mothers. Like, I get it. I get it. If you've been in a situation, maybe you were cheated on and you're just hurt, and you're using this kid as a pawn or whatever. And, you don't know what to do with your brokenness. And so you're trying to get them back because you feel like this is going to hurt them. I get being hurt, but now you're actually extending that hurt to your kid. And that's not fair to your kid, right? So you have to do what you need to do first. You got to heal. And then you got to make sure that you keep the kid in focus in mind. All right, I'm hurt, I'm broken, but I need to, take a step back and do what's best for my child. Like the same way you wanted maybe your mom and your dad to be in your life as a kid. You got to kind of put yourself in your child's shoes. And, for all the men or women that are dealing with situations, like my heart goes out to you, for that, wanting to see your kid and being met with that obstacle, and then having kids that may have a false perception about who you are, and, you wanting to show up, but you don't have the ability because you're dealing with somebody who's toxic. So, I would just say, get a mediator and allow them to do the work. Shoot, it costs a little bit of money, but ultimately your child is priceless. And that relationship, those years go by so quick, and you don't want to be in a situation where your kid is having these grudges towards you because they don't really know. They're in a childlike state. They don't really know you're longing to want to be there for them, to show up for them, but you don't have the ability to do it yourself. So I would just get a mediator to help you do it.
I love that. Thank you for that information. All right. Well, we done definitely got to the end of our great podcast tonight. So what are your final thoughts, Ms. Tim?
Final thoughts. We got a lot of work to do. We got a lot of work to do within our community. I think I'll just start with family is so important that it trickles down to every single topic we talked about, from Caresha and her son to the acceptance of being cheated on, to even, this situation. And then also just being able to be respectful towards one another. These are all things that we should all just be looking inwardly and making sure that we make solid strides to be better every single day. And then also being able to work through our hurt. You know, if the relationship doesn't work out and you have kids, you have to find a way to be able to work through that pain to make sure that you're keeping that child or that kid in mind and being able to do the right thing for them. So that's what I got for tonight.
Sounds good. Well, I'm gonna rock with that. I definitely want to thank you guys for joining, Tam and I both. Thank you guys for joining us here on a Tuesday night for Tim and Tam Talks, the Back Pew Conversations. As you can see at the bottom of the screen, if you are watching live, definitely put an L into the comments. If you are watching as a replay, go ahead and put an R in there too. It's always an interactive experience. So we thank you guys for just your participation and interaction with us tonight. But definitely make sure that you please like, subscribe, share on Facebook, YouTube, all of the different channels, the Back Pew Conversations with Tim and Tam Talks. And we just gonna rock out that way. So we look forward to seeing you guys next Tuesday. Tam, you got anything else?
No, thank you guys so much for watching. We'll see you next week.
Hey, all right. Well, Tam, it's always a pleasure doing this with you. Thank you guys once again. And we out. Be blessed.
My wife and I first started dating. She bought me some flowers.
She romanced you.
She romanced me.
Got it.
Is it weird to you? I mean, I'm still kind of trying to get comfortable with it.
Did she hold the door for you?
Yo, no, we're not.
I can see a pedicure.
You would you?
Depends on his feet.
That could be Mara's feet, and you can do it.
No way, you about to be cutting up my hands.
Yo, what's going on? This is
The Tim and Tam Talks. All right, look, bring it home. Let's get into this.
We're gonna have a lot of great conversations.